Hey there! Welcome to a painting and construction paper lesson with me today. So parents, I have a big supply list. Of course, you can tweak whatever you need to be able to do this project. We're going to be creating two pieces of art that will get combined into one. So the first thing that you'll need is a piece of good thick painting paper like watercolor paper, construction paper, cardstock. The bigger the better. And that's going to be for our background piece of art that we're going to be painting on. I personally am going to be using a cardboard box, and we'll talk about that. The next thing that you're going to need is just a good old piece of white construction paper. I also have some acrylic paints, but tempera paint would work just fine. Some different size brushes, a paint plate for mixing, napkin for drying my brush, water cup for rinsing my brush. I also have some markers back here, some scissors, and a glue stick. So like I said, this is going to be actually two projects that get turned into one, okay? So for the first project, I am going to take a shipping box. And parents, you're probably going to want to do this for the kids because cardboard is so tricky to cut. Ugh. Okay. And you know what, if that first cut is not pretty, don't worry about it. Just get it cut apart so that way it's easier to work with, right? Okay, so now I could leave it on this full sheet, or if you want to cut these flaps off, you could cut those off. Okay, now once we get all of these sections sort of cut how we want them, then you can go back and clean up your edges if you need to, okay, if it's bothering you. Now, we're done with those scissors for the meantime. We'll need them out again. And I'm going to put my working surface up here. Of course, they can paint flat. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? They could even do this, like I was saying, on just a good old thick piece of paper. That's okay for painting on, okay? So now I'm going to grab one of my bigger brushes, and I am going to work on getting my background painted. Now they could, if they wanted to, just sort of swirl the color all on there however they want, or I'm going to be doing stripes of colors today. And because this is going to be an Easter project, I am going to use pastels. So not oil pastels or soft pastels, but pastel colors. So that means lighter colors. Now, how do you lighten your colors? You use white. So I am going to put white on my paint plate. I usually like to put it in the middle of the plate. That way I have it. Now this little tin of paint that I have right here is acrylic paint. This is paint that I sell on my website, but if you have your own acrylic paint, great, okay? Now I am going to scrape off some of this extra white paint that's on my brush. Now, I know that it bothers some of you to not have a clean brush when you're dipping in a new color. So if you need to clean your brush, go for it. Anytime we clean our brush, the brush goes to the bottom of the cup and we smush and swirl. So we smush and swirl. There was nothing in my water. It was just, I had done a watercolor project and just left the water in there instead of getting fresh water. So no worries about why it was green. So we smush and swirl like a ballerina. We wipe on the inside of the cup. And then this part is important. We dry, dry, dry. So you can kind of sweep it off on your napkin. Okay? Okay. Now we've got to lighten our colors, right? So I am going to grab a little bit of red, just a little bit, like just the corner of my brush there, okay? Just a little chocolate chip amount. Put that on my plate, grab from the side of the white, and mix that in. Or, of course, you could start with white, which is what I normally do, and then mix in my color. Now, make sure you're making enough. Another bonus to putting white mixed with my colors is if your box, like mine, is printed on, this will help kind of cover up that printing a little bit. And it may require a second coat, but that's okay. And I think it's better to do a couple of thin coats versus just one really thick coat because it'll dry super slow the thicker it is. We don't want this to take a long time to dry. Okay, so there's one layer. So now I clean my brush, clean. And I need another white pile. I might as well just go ahead and make all my little white piles, right? So I'm just going to make a whole bunch of little white piles on my plate. Okay, there we go. Now I will grab my next color. So I might grab some turquoise and mix that in. Again, if it bothers you, clean your brush first and then you can get into your turquoise. So this was a pile of white that I put some turquoise in and mixed it up. Try to keep your piles small, okay? Try not to let them mix all over the plate because then they'll dry on the plate before you even have time to use them. Do not make this super thick. It will take forever to dry. And notice how I'm sweeping it back and forth from edge to edge, just like that. You could even blend them a little where they meet if you want to. Okay, then we move on to another color and we mix. And so you could make as many pastels as you want to, right? Or you could just do a couple and do a pattern. You could do an AB pattern, which would be just two colors. So it could be like pink, blue, pink, blue, pink, blue, pink, blue. Or right now I have ABC, pink, turquoise, purple, pink, turquoise, purple, pink, turquoise, purple. So that is kind of the fun part to painting. There's no wrong way of doing it. Your way is your way. This is your piece of art, right? Just as long as you're not making a big old mess, getting yourself in trouble. Okay, this is, like I said, acrylic paint. I think I forgot to tell you it stains your clothes. So make sure that you have some working clothes on, like some paint clothes, some old clothes, or an apron. And make sure that you have some table covering on your table. That way, the kiddos will be super successful. Okay, I am going to clean that purple out of my brush. So I'm rubbing. The bigger your water cup for cleaning out your brush, probably the better. Make sure you hold on to that brush so that you don't tip it over on accident. Okay, how about some yellow now? So I'll mix some yellow into a color. Now I have to be careful where the yellow and the purple meet. If I blend those two colors, I'll actually make like a brownish, because yellow and purple, when you mix them, will make brown. So be careful with that. There we go. And be careful when you get to the edges because you might wind up flicking paint. So go slow on the edges. And remember, we're sweeping the paint on. Sweep, sweep, sweep. Now, as this dries, I can kind of see my priority mail coming through, but that's okay. We can just put a second coat on, right? No big deal. No big deal. Okay, and then how about, what if I grabbed some yellow and put it by my white and grab a little bit of red? What will that make? Yellow and red. A lot of yellow, little bit of red, and then mix that into my white, and I should get an orangey color, right? I think I need a little bit more red. Okay, so yellow and red makes an orangey color. There we go. Okay, that's pretty. And then we could just keep going, mixing and making our own colors, and they could all be different, or I could start this over again. Totally up to you. This is your piece of art. Or like I was saying earlier, I could have even just like swirled my background. It doesn't have to be in stripes. Okay, clean my brush, swirl, wipe, dry, and grab some pink. Mix some pink in. Might have to make a little bit more pink. That's a bummer when you make a pretty color and then you run out of it. Yep, I'm gonna have to make me some more. I'm gonna grab me some white, grab me some red, and mix up a little bit more of this. Oop, this is darker this time. See, that's the problem with making your own. Grab too much red that time, but that's okay. That's a pretty color. And while it's on the brush, I am going to go ahead up here and put just a little bit more on up here so it covers it up better. Clean, clean, clean. Dry, dry, dry. Get into my turquoise. Make sure you dry that brush, or if not, that water will make your paint even more see-through. There we go. Okay, grab some purple. A little bit more purple on there. Okay, a little bit of purple down here. Okay, so you guys just have fun with painting the background, painting the cardboard. Sometimes it's awesome just to let your kids go rogue and do their own thing. And if they're covered up good and their table surface is covered up good and they're not using your most favorite brushes, then, you know, that's okay. They're just going to have fun. Sometimes it's good just to let them be creative and express themselves, especially when there's like just a lot of chaos or turmoil going on in their life. This is a nice just escape to some art. The great art escape. Okay, a little bit more orange, trying to cover up that paint on the box. Well, the print on the box. I guess, I don't know if it's paint or not, but the print. A little bit more on this pink over here. Make sure you got a lot of napkins. My goodness, this is a lot of washing and drying, washing and drying. Okay, good thing painting's fun, or that would feel like a chore. Okay. All right. Just a little bit more turquoise right down here, right? Just a little bit more right down here. There we go. And a little bit more purple. The cool thing about cardboard is it sucks up the paint that you put on it and dries actually pretty quick. Okay, so I am going to push my paint plate out of the way, or you could even throw it away. That way there's no accidents. I am going to move this to the side. You could even put it where it's under a fan, or if it's not too windy outside, you could set it outside. Do not put it anywhere where it's going to blow away, though, because that would be devastating. It'll wind up with grass or something all over it, okay? So I'm going to move all this stuff out of my way, clear out my workspace, swap it out a little, get this stuff over here out of the way, move my little paints. Make sure you cover up your paints when you're not using them, okay? Now, I am going to move on to this next project, or next part of the project. So I'll tape that up there so it doesn't wiggle on me. Okay, now this is just my blank piece of paper. Copy paper will work, white construction paper will work, cardstock, tag board, whatever you got, make it work. I'm doing white because I am going to draw, I draw, you draw, a bunny, but bunnies could be black, they could be brown, they could be pink. Your bunny can be whatever color you want. So if you don't have white paper, but you have other color paper, great. That's the cool thing about art, is you just go with the flow, okay? Now, what I am going to do is I am going to draw a pretty big frowny face curve line on my paper. But I want to make sure and leave enough room for ears, right? Okay, so frowny face, like that. So we've got our head, and it's just part of the head of the bunny. And then we need some ears, and you could even do one ear bent if you want to. I think I'm going to do both ears straight up and down, and I'm trying to make them about the same size. So that's why drawing with pencil is best, because then you can erase if there's any oopsies and there's no like freakouts, right? Us parents want to avoid freakouts. Okay, there's the inside of the ear. So far we have lots of curved lines. Remember, you can pause me at any time, get yourself caught up, and then hit play again, okay? Now for the eyes, you guys can do whatever kind of eyes you want. Seems like every kiddo has a special way of doing them. I did 2 ovals with oval inside, shine in the eye, maybe a little shine. So 4 ovals, 4 circles. For the nose, I am going to do an upside down curvy triangle, okay? I know y'all love my lingo. And then I am going to do a mouth that looks kind of like this. So curve, sort of looks like a J and a backwards J, or a smile and a smile. If you wanted to, you could even do little curves at the top. If you have enough room, come on paper. If you have enough room, you could do some little teeth down here at the bottom, some little bunny teeth. You don't have to though, only if you want to. And then some little whisker freckles, and then of course we need some whiskers. Awesome. Okay, now let's say you want to do extra. Okay, maybe you want your bunny to have earrings, or to have a hair bow, or to have a bow tie. Really, you could add all kinds of accessories up here in the background, because we're going to cut this bunny out and stick it on our extra paper. So you could draw your extras up here if you wanted to. Oh, I'm going to make mine a girly bunny. Girly bunny with big teeth. And some eyebrows. Okay, so say I'm doing a girly bunny, then maybe I want to do a little flower that is going to go on her head. Okay, so see, look at that real close. But like I said, you can do any kind of accessories you want to. Now I'm going to use my markers. You could use crayons, you could use oil pastels. If you choose to use markers, you're going to use the whole side of the tip. So use that whole edge right there, okay, the whole edge to color with, and it's going to make a nice thick line to fill it in with. There we go. And as you're coloring, you could think, okay, well, does my bunny need to be white? Or maybe you want to make your bunny a rainbow bunny, or maybe your favorite color is green. You could make your rainbow green, or your bunny green. So how can you make this bunny special? special to yourself. Okay. Actually, I might keep the red or the pink out and do the nose. There we go. Same thing. Back and forth, no scribbling. Maybe my bunny has some big blue eyes. Really, this is probably the black part of the eye, but that's okay. That's okay. You can get creative with your colors too. Okay, and then for my flower, maybe my bunny has a purple flower. Back and forth, so it doesn't look scribbly. I am going to try blue on top of my purple and see what happens. I think, yeah, that looks nice. It makes it look just a little darker in those areas. And then I could use green, right? There we go. Okay. Then, of course, if there's anything extra you want to add, now's the time. Now, parents, you can let your kiddos cut this out themselves, or you can cut it out for them. Remember, our thumbs go in the top hole right here, and our fingers go in the bottom one, and we have to keep our scissors up. For some reason, I think because it feels more comfortable, kids will turn their scissors upside down and try to cut. So I'm going to keep my thumb up on top, my scissors on the bottom, cut my paper away from my other hand. Do not have your hand right by where you're cutting because we do not want to cut ourselves. We're just trying to make a cute little bunny. Don't have an accident, right? So then we cut, and as I cut, I turn my paper. Now, earlier when you were drawing with pencil, before you get to this part of cutting, what you could do is trace all of those pencil lines with Sharpie or marker or crayon or pastel so that they stand out. I think this would be a good project to trace all your pencil lines with something dark so that way they really pop against that background we made. The only problem is when you go to cut, you have to go slow and stay on the outside of those black lines you just made, or it'd be kind of silly to trace those black lines and then accidentally cut them off, right? Okay, so there's our bunny. And then next you have to cut out your accessories. So I will cut around just like this, slow and steady, no race. Okay. And don't get frustrated. The more we practice cutting, the better we get. And a lot of kids need a lot more practice than what they have. So the more you cut, the better you will be at it. Okay, hold on to those scraps in case you decide to add any extra little accessories or details. I don't want to put glue directly on my bunny because I don't know if it will be enough. So I'm going to put glue on the back of my accessory and then stick it on where I want it, okay? Then I'm going to flip my bunny backwards, and I'm going to put glue all around the edge. And I know you can't see exactly where the glue's going. Make sure and put it on super, super thick. Glue sticks do not work quite as good as they used to, but they're easier to use with kids than glue bottles. If you're using a glue bottle one thing that I always tell the kids is a little dab will do ya. So just a dot, not a lot, because they want to pour that glue on there, but you have to be in control of that, okay? Now, my painting is pretty much dry, not 100%, but it's pretty close. So my little bunny rabbit is going to go at the bottom of my painting. So it's like he's peeking up into the scene here. Oh, I could even leave those where they flip out. I did put glue on the back so I could stick those down, or I could just leave them flipped up a little. There we go. Make sure it's stuck really good. Just in case my background is still a little bit wet, I am making sure not to rub the background. I am only rubbing on the bunny. But make sure your hands are clean too when you're rubbing on the bunny. And now we have the cutest little bunny. I love it. Okay, this would be a great spring decoration or Easter decoration, and would also make a super great gift for somebody. How fun would this be to go surprise a neighbor or a grandparent and leave it on the porch for them with a nice little note on the back, right? You could have an extra piece of construction paper glued to the back with a nice message on top. So I enjoyed doing this project with you. Thanks so much for hanging out. I hope that you had a lot of fun, and I cannot wait to do some more art with you.